What's up, you guys? Slim here at Team Symmetry, here with my next installment of Slim Psychology. The first thing I want to say is thank you to everyone that went and checked out my Everyone Needs a Hero Slim Psychology episode. I did get the name, of course, from Crowcresta. Those of you who don't know the channel, I'm going to link it below. Definitely check that out. He was really cool about it. He kind of joked with me. He's like, I saw what you did there, with the title, and it definitely was from him. I wasn't trying to steal anything from him at all. His knowledge of heroes is far superior to mine, and if you guys need anything hero related, he's definitely the channel to go to. Really cool guy, and he will answer your questions, and he will make you just an amazing hero player. If you've ever taken his hero challenge, you'll see that he knows everything about heroes, and you don't want to mess with that deck. So yeah, so I gotta say on that. Also, some people said that I need to, I guess, just get better at talking more instead of just like key cards, talking about like the psychological aspect of those cards. And I totally agree. So, shout out to the channels that mentioned that and PM'd me about that. I'm really glad you guys still enjoy the segment, and I am going to definitely try to bring more of the psychological aspect to the game back into this segment. So I thought I'd start it off, I guess, like the new revamped version of this with the deck that a lot of people who have been following me on YouTube since the very beginning, back to my original channel before I switched channels. We're going to talk about a deck that I did get I've gotten actually 2 invites with, and a deck that I've done very well with in the past, and I'm actually playing again for the first time since then. So we're just going to start off. All I got to do is show you guys just one card. We are going to talk about Gravekeepers, you guys. Now, why are we going to talk about Gravekeepers? I've got several reasons. Reason being, I did actually lose to Gravekeepers. Royal Tribute kicked my ass when I drew vanillas, and I had absolutely no way of coming back with Rabbit. That could be one reason. Another reason is I have always loved this deck. There has never been a time where I have ever said that it was a terrible deck. It had gotten to a point where I felt that it wasn't as consistent as it could be. A lot of people may say it still isn't, but I think it is. I think it does have the potential to come back, and there's a little something people don't realize. Necro Valley shits on Inzectors like it's nobody's business. If you can Necro Valley Royal Tribute them and take away their Hornets, it's pretty much over. Protect your Necro Valley and you win, because they can't really get around you. I mean, they do have Zet Caliber, but I mean, you can run other cards to counter them. This is Gravekeepers after all. So I'm just going to start off with the very basics. You already know Spy is your main engine. It's very self-explanatory. It is a mandatory effect. A lot of people think you can choose to trigger it or not. You do have to do it. Of course, if you have a viable target. I think like the psychological aspect of this card, like just talking about it straight off, it's not expected. You attack, flip, oh, it's a Spy. Wait, what? It's like a turn 1, you attack into something, you think, oh, it's probably a Sangan. Nope, it's a Spy, 2000 defense. I'm going to flip and I'm going to search something. A lot of the times, Thunder King can't do shit. You attack into this, flip, oh, you took 100. Okay, I'm going to bring out, either a Recruiter or Descendant, whatever I need to, get my combos off. So you can really just surprise the opponent. I think this card has the element of surprise. It used to be used in Monarchs as tribute fodder, and it's just a very, very versatile card overall. It's the only thing you can't search out with Recruiter, but it's still the best card in the deck. Let's say on to, of course, the Recruiters. I don't really know if there's a psychological aspect to this card. I think it could be what I've seen is you can summon this thing, feel safe, and attack with it, because if you don't have Necro Valley, they can't bottomless trap hole you. I mean, they can waste a Fiendish Chain on it, but that's kind of pointless because its effect is engraved, so it's really good. I call it Baldy. It's just a really great card in general. When this card, came to the OCG, if you guys follow Shriek2day.net, the minute they got Gravekeepers Summoner, which is the other name for Gravekeepers Recruiter, this deck started to top pretty consistently out there, and it's where I kind of based my build that I ran on DN for people who play me on DN. I have played GKs a couple times. I actually did play them today, and I am trying to revamp them with new cards that have come out. So Baldy is self-explanatory. Psychologically speaking, it's just another card that you can set in defense and your opponent can attack into with Necro Valley, and it's like, what's up? It's like 2000 defense. They'll think they're running into a Spy, they run into a Recruiter, it's like, huh. And then it's like, then you summon Descendant, if Descendant resolves, pop, ba-boom, and you start your combos off, which is really cool. Just a great card in general, you have to run them. On to the stuff that hasn't really changed. Some people run 2 Descendant, or used to with Gravekeepers, but I still feel that 3 is the proper number, because with priority gone, unfortunately, this was the card that got hit, and this really is the only thing that people will say, why would you run this deck? You can bottomless this and you don't get your priority. You can Valor this. I mean, people would Valor it anyway. You would still you know, have to tribute for the cost, but now with bottomless around in main decks, it could be a problem. But that's why you have to know when to play this card. And there's other cards in here that I'm going to talk about that keep this card alive and keep your plays safe. This card's really good, psychologically speaking. It's just when you flip Spy, if you search this, your opponent will think, huh, do they have a Recruiter? Or you do it the other way, you search Descendant, do you have Recruiter? Your opponent is constantly trying to think, what do you have in your hand? What can they prepare for? What can they do? And a lot of times they don't really have an answer, and your combos go off, and it's really good. So another thing, if they Veiler this, and you still tribute the Recruiter, you're good, or at least I'm pretty sure you are. You know, tell me if I'm wrong, but you still have to tribute for the cost, and you still will get your search from Recruiter, since Recruiters are resolving in your grave. So really good card in general. 2000 with Necro Valley, beats over Thunder King. Which is like one of the worst cards like against this deck. Like it hurts the deck a lot if you know, you play it wrong. These need no explanation really. You can run them in this deck, in Malefic, whatever. A funny thing about this card, it's the only psychological aspect to this card. There are two things. 2100 beater under Necro Valley beats face. Suicide with Cyber Dragon, which whatever. But you can start off with this card, and your opponent may think you're playing Malefic. I've had many games where people know me for running Malefic, where I'll command it, I'll search Necro Valley. They think here comes the Gear Town, here comes that bullshit. And instead, you know, I'll play Necro Valley, and you know, I'll set something, then I'll play Royal Tribute, and they still won't know what they're playing against, and then they'll figure out later it was GKs, and by then you'll have already gotten an advantage to win the game, so really good. And then the one Assailant. People say that Assailant isn't needed. I kind of don't agree. I think Assailant is needed. That ability to switch your opponent's monster is key to winning, like taking down some of those Exceeds like the Leviathan Dragon, and it's like some other cards in general. It's a good answer to cards you can't really get around, and I like it one. I've never ran more than one, and I don't think you need to. Spells are pretty self-explanatory. Dualities, you need 3 of them. I've never seen anyone run 2. This card, of course, adds to the consistency psychologically. If you don't happen to duality into anything Gravekeeper related, your opponent still doesn't know what you're playing, so that's really good. And if you start off with a duality, they may think you're running Heroes or Inzectors, so you can, you know, surprise your opponent if you don't happen to hit any of those GK cards, but if you do, you do. And, like, again, if you duality into a Royal Tribute or a Necro Valley, they still may think you're playing Malefic, so versatile nonetheless. Self-explanatory. This card single-handedly locks down a lot of the main meta decks. Dragons, Chaos, Inzectors, if you Royal Tribute them, or if you get those Hornets engraved, they can't target the Hornet or do anything, so this card really just puts in work. This literally was the card that shut down Agents back when I ran Malefic. Reason why I was winning is you Necro Valley Royal Tribute them, they were mostly all monsters, and they had no way to really come back, so that card is just amazing. Self-explanatory. Then I guess some of the other cards, the bitch card of the deck, I don't need to explain it. Take away your opponent's hand if they run a lot of monsters, or even if they hit anything. Like, hit a Veiler, hit something, it's good regardless. Alright, other things that are ran in the deck. This is something I'm trying out. Let me know, anyone that runs GKs, what you think about this card, Wonder Wand. I had gotten these a long time ago. I actually just got them again from my friend. Shout out to the Troll. Yes, I call him the Troll. He's amazing. I've been trying this card. This card is broken with Recruiter. If you guys didn't already know, you equipped it to Recruiter, you know, under Necro Valley becomes 22, or normally becomes 17. You know, you can attack, do damage, you can tribute. You get to draw 2 for Wonder Wand, and then search with Recruiter. Really good combo. The best combo for the deck. With Recruiter, and I mean, this is good. This is kind of like, I compare it to Zeth Caliber, because you can just equip it, you gain an attack, and you know, you beat over stuff, and you know, it's still really good. I'm testing it though. I might leave it at 2, I might go to 1, it depends. I mean, plus it looks pretty cool, so yeah. And then right now I'm only running 1, I might go up to 2, I'm not sure. This card can be a dead draw sometimes, and sometimes you need it to save your life, but I think it's good. I like 1. The deck's at 40 right now. I could go to 41, but I do like the deck running just 1. Get back your stuff, start your cycle again. Self-explanatory, it's really good. And it messes with your opponent's head. Like, seriously, you play this when they've got, like, pretty much nothing. You just got back 2 monsters. What's up? Pretty much. Like that. And then the only staples that it runs that I know of are Dark Hole and Book of Moon. Don't need Storm, don't need MSTs, Descendant and all that is your MSTs. These cards are good. Reflip the Spy, flip something you can't get over, Dark Hole, clear the field, go off. I don't need to explain those cards. The cards I do want to explain though, the card that gave me the reason to run this deck again is Night Beam. Now, people don't know, this card came out in Galactic Overlord. This is the new MST, but this card is used in specific decks. It's not used in every deck. This card, if you guys don't know what it does, it targets a face-down spell or trap your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate that card, you destroy it, and your opponent cannot activate it in response. Now, this card is really good in this deck because the deck can, on a lot of decks, can have a problem where they lose to quick play cards. Gemini Sparks against heroes, Hero Blast, stuff like that is a real problem. If you draw Unite Beam, you hit that, they can't respond. I was playing on DN today, I hit Compulses, I hit Bottomless. I hit a lot of cards that my opponent could just not respond with, and Night Beam really put in work. Then my Descendant was free to go off, pop the other stuff, search with Recruiter, and win me the game. So this card was one of the main reasons I brought the deck back. I definitely tell people to try and pick these up and run this deck with these cards, and definitely try it. It will win you a lot of games. It will secure you a lot of plays. It will knock out that pesky Solemn Warning, that Bottomless, whatever could really get in your way. Wherever your opponent cannot chain, if that's really important, I think, in this deck. And as soon as I saw this card, I knew that it could potentially be seen in Gravekeepers, and sure enough, it was. If you look at Shriek 2-Day, they do run at least 2. Some run 3. I may try 3, but I like it at 2, so it doesn't get too clunky. And then when it comes to the traps, before I finish, psychologically speaking, this card fucks your opponent, because it's like, oh, okay, you're going to MST my face down and I'll just chain it? Nope, you're not going to be able to chain it. Grayed out to Super Poly when the Dark Hero comes out, just so you guys know, this card is broken. And I really like it. I don't care what people say. I've always liked this card as soon as I heard about it. Self-explanatory. I still like this card. Shout out to 3Z Inferno, who has always loved this card, and I totally agree. He was the reason I think I even picked these up in the beginning, because he was like, Slim, why aren't you running Fiendish Chains? And when I was running Rabbit, or whatever deck I was running, I'm like, why do I need to run it? And it was like, it's time to slap you upside the head. This card is broken. A lot of people think this card isn't effective against the rogue matches. It's true, but I mean, it can stop big beaters that have effects, and you're out to Inzectors, and you need that in a lot of decks. So I think this card's still really good. So it does have a lot of potential, and I would not suggest you cutting it unless you have a better substitute. But aside from Valor, this is like another version of Valor, and Valor is, Valor. Mash removal needed for rogue decks, other decks, Rabbit, all these decks. This stuff is just really self-explanatory, you guys. I don't need to go into details about this. Psychologically speaking, you can bait your opponent and crush their dreams with this card. It happens all the time. I've had it happen to me with Rabbit, but you take that chance. Same thing. Crush their dreams when they try to go into Rabbit and the guys. Bottomless says, what's up? You don't have Road, you don't have Bribe, you don't have Solemn Judgment. Okay, cool. Yeah, you just knocked out like your best play. And the last cards that I'm running right now are the Judgment and the Starlight Road. I am running the Road because we always do have something to protect, which is Necro Valley. For people who don't remember, Necro Valley is on the field. Necro Valley is a card. Heavy Storm is a card. Torrential is a card. Dark Hole is a card. Mirror Force is a card. All these cards that can have mass removal effects. Say what's up to Starlight Road. I won a game today by Starlight Road. I attack. I bring Descent. I flip Spy. Get Recruiter. Try to attack with both for game. He Mirror Forces. I chain Starlight Road. He scoops. Amazing stuff. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about is what other monsters could you run in Gravekeepers. All I did was show you the shell of Gravekeepers, which I believe is 13 monsters. I didn't show you guys what other options you can run right now in Gravekeepers. What a lot of people are doing, and what I have seen in main decks, are copies of Malefic Stardust. The reason why you run Malefic Stardust is pretty broken. This card, is pretty much a free summon. If you have Necro Valley, it protects your Necro Valley. People have misplayed and tried to MST the Necro Valley. It's like, you can't. You just wasted your MST. This card protects the Necro Valley, if people don't remember that. They Heavy Storm, they hit everything but your Necro Valley, and your Stardust stays. It's how you can answer it. Also, it's a great out to Rabbit. A turn 1 2500 beater is like a turn 1 Leviathan Dragon. Your Rabbit player's gonna have a hard time unless they have Forbidden Lance, and you'll have like protective cards, so you'll be good. But this is a great way also to bait out cards that you can't get past, like Bottomless, and I don't even know, like I had this Fiendish Chain, which is really weird, but yeah, this card is a really good contender in the main deck, as well as Valors. Now, I haven't had Valor in the main deck for this deck yet. I'm testing between the two right now. Right now, I'm trying the... actually, I am trying the Valors right now, just because there's a lot of Inzectors. But it can be either way, 2 of these or 2 of these. And people would try to fit in both. It's a little hard. I think the better way is probably to have the Malefics game 1, and then game 2, once you know for sure what you're playing against, you can side in the Valors. Like, against bugs, you'll need your outs, and that's what this is for. But these are really good against Dino Rabbit and really good against just like big beater decks. So these cards put in work. And, psychologically speaking, you summon a 2500 beater, turn 1 against Rabbit, they're kind of scratching their head if they don't really have anything to protect it. So, really good card. I like them all. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it. I hope I analyzed enough of the psychological aspect. I really wanted to stress that in this video, if you guys can notice. you know, fucks with your opponent's mind so much. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, you always fear this card when you Heavy Storm, and it's like, if you flip it, it's like, fuck. It's like, not only did I waste my Heavy Storm, and I gotta deal with the Stardust. So, yeah. That's pretty much it, you guys. I really been waiting to do this deck profile. I have had this here waiting, just waiting for the time that I was like, I'm gonna surprise my subs with Gravekeepers, and they're gonna be like, oh my god, Slim, are you running Gravekeepers again? And the answer is kind of yes, kind of no. For Nats, I don't know what I'm running. This may be the deck. Malefic may be the deck. I'm just gonna keep testing it and see what happens. But I hope you guys like this video. I just put some thought in this one, and I just hope you guys like it. I don't have anything like for the side deck or extra deck yet, but I'll definitely be working on those and profile the deck in its entirety when it's done. So I just hope you guys like this video. I hope that I answered a lot of psychological questions. There will be Inzectors, there will be other decks that I'll be doing in the future. I'm just doing the ones that I have access to right now. But I hope you guys like these videos. You know, thumbs up, comment below if there's anything you want to see in the future, and I will definitely bring it to you. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you for watching.